Peter Loshak. This is our weekly football opening lines show with John Ryan. This week we're looking at college football Week 7 and NFL Week 6. We got a fresh batch of opening lines right here. I'm excited to look at them. John, how you doing?
Good, Peter. How are you?
I'm good. All right, let's jump right into to college football. Now, there were two openers that caught my eye as possibly having some value. I hit them pretty hard. One of them moved in my favor. One of them didn't. The first one was Virginia Tech Wake Forest. I took it at +7, -119. Now I see it's 6.5, but +108. I'm just thinking that, Virginia Tech might be a little bit, they're just not getting it done this year. Wake Forest, of course, just beat Florida State. And, at home, touchdown underdog, I thought that was a good bet. And then the other one I took was Oregon State at home against BYU. Oregon State's starting to play a lot better. I think I got them +1, like -119 or something. Now they're -1.5. What do you think about those two bets?
I like your ideas, Peter. They're good, solid opening bets to make. Virginia Tech is still, the public is still adjusting, I guess, to Virginia Tech's less than stellar play.
Do you think that they're fundamentally that they're really not getting it done, or do you think they're due for a big bounce back to start playing a lot better and getting covers as favorites?
I don't see the bounce back.
Okay.
I just don't see the athleticism and the speed that they usually have. Wake Forest is having a tremendous year. They have great confidence now coming off that Florida State win.
Right. I mean, was that fluky, or you think that was a real deal kind of win?
Yeah, that was definitely a real deal against Florida State. You got to remember, Florida State was supposed to be one of the top five teams in the country this year.
Sure.
They're off to a 2-3 start now. So even though Florida State has underperformed, that still was a very impressive win for Wake Forest.
And then Oregon State, I mean, they got a pretty good win last week. I figure, why can't they do it again?
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that line basically at -1, -1.5 across the board now. It opened at pick.
Right.
And even though the public is pushing the line higher, it could be the sharp money coming in too.
Yeah,
so
sure. A lot of times that early money, sharp money. All right, let's look at some of the other lines that maybe look a little interesting. California at home on Thursday. That one opened at 4. It might have even opened even higher. First time I saw it at 4. Now I'm seeing it in California +3.5, -114. I mean, USC is good, but should California be a home dog on a Thursday game there?
I don't think so. That was the shocking line. I thought that game would come out at pick'em. It has not.
Right.
So I'm going to have to do the research and see if the line's telling me to take Southern Cal when all the other factors probably right now would say California would be a great early bet, getting points at home. That was a surprising opening line.
Yeah, and I'm not at all surprised that it's moved where it has. And I'm guessing this will close at I'm guessing it might go down to -2.5, -105, and then people will come on the other side of USC. That'll be the Sharps buying back. But I think this will close at 3 or 2.5.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Then what about Temple and Buffalo? I mean, Temple, when they win big, don't they? The score is usually other teams 0, Temple whatever. And, here they are, 20.5-point favorite against Buffalo. I actually took it. I think it opened at 19. I want to take it at 19. I hesitated, and I think I got 20. Now it's -20.5, -110. But that might be a good line. What do you think?
I think it is a good line. Buffalo team is not good. Temple just run the ball.
Right.
Yeah, they could run the ball 70 plays in that game, and I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see Buffalo not score either.
Exactly. I mean, they've shut out better teams than Buffalo, I mean, how many times do we have to see this? Final score, Buffalo 0, Temple more than 21. And then what about, here's a game that's skipping ahead to some of the other games, but this game screams to me possible big value, possible trap. It's a curious line. It's SMU at home, -2.5 over Central Florida. Now, SMU, of course, they just beat TCU on the road, which is impressive no matter how you cut it, slice it. And now they're off of a bye week. Central Florida, though, they were one of those teams that was supposed to be great this year. They've kind of disappointed a bit, but last year they also had sort of a shaky start and then went on to win the conference. SMU at home -2.5. So tempting to take SMU, and the line has initially moved up a bit, so I'm assuming that's sharp action. But what do you make of that line and that movement?
It's a very difficult game to call for the reasons you just outlined. TCU was a great win, but now that momentum has kind of stopped because they had the bye week.
Exactly. This is one of the situations where maybe the bye week, just as you said, might actually be a detriment and not a positive as it often is.
I would agree.
Yeah, that is a tough game. For me personally, that's going to be a big stay-off game, I think. Then look at LSU Tennessee. Look at that. I think that line opened at 14. Then it got bet up to 15.5. Now I'm looking and it's back down to 14. I mean, LSU and Alabama have pretty much been this year, just bet them. No matter how big of a favorite they are, road, home, whatever. But what do you think about that one? 14, they blow them out again?
Well, it's I guess it's either going to be another LSU blowout or
Yeah.
Tennessee's going to come up with some miracle at home. And Tennessee has pulled off some big upsets playing at home. So we'll have to take a closer look at that game as we get closer to the weekend. Sooner or later, LSU is not going to cover the spread.
Right, of course.
And you're not going to make a bet because of that reason. But sooner or later, they're going to run into a game where they just get caught.
And then maybe an even worse game in line is Alabama minus 24.5 on the road against Mississippi. I mean, is Alabama that good and Mississippi that bad? 24.5?
Well, in the SEC, you wouldn't think so. But in this case, I think it is.
You think so?
Again, that's a game that right now, I would say stay away from because that's an easy backdoor cover. You're talking about the SEC conference. Teams play very hard at home, especially when they're massive dogs.
Then what do you think about Oklahoma State, Texas? Now, that's pretty interesting. Last week, of course, Texas was a big dog to Oklahoma, got completely blown out. This one, Texas opened 8.5, and now it's all the way down to 7. I'm thinking this might be the week that Oklahoma gets a cover as a big underdog.
You mean Texas as the underdog?
Sorry, Texas. Yeah, Texas.
Yeah. That's right. I think Texas. I think the line's telling you that Texas is the play here, right out of the chute. Otherwise, the line would have opened at 11.
I mean, this year Texas was expected to be a down year, rebuilding year, whatever for Texas. But Oklahoma State are they close to the level of Oklahoma, or are they going to have a much more competitive game here?
I think it's going to be much more competitive.
Okay.
I don't think there's any comparison between Oklahoma State and Oklahoma. I always look at speed on defense as one of my first criteria when I look at the fundamentals. And obviously the speed that Oklahoma has on defense is that of an LSU.
The Michigan State game, that's coming up. Line hasn't moved that much. It's been open at -3. It's still -3. Michigan is a tiny bit juiced at -110. You think that line will move, or you think it's just going to stay at 3 the whole up till game time?
I think it'll stay there. That's another game that's very difficult to call.
Right.
Big rivalry, obviously. So I think 3 is a very good line, and it'll probably stay there.
Do you have any opinion on Mississippi State as a home dog to South Carolina? South Carolina switched quarterbacks. Seems like they're doing a little bit better without Stephen Garcia at quarterback. What do you think of Mississippi State, maybe? Home dog?
Well, South Carolina's coming off the big win.
Yeah.
Point production was up through the roof, so they are due for that letdown in the SEC competition. A lot of times you see these SEC teams have a big game and then have to go on the road.
Yeah.
And, as we know, that's the hardest thing in football to do, is go on the road in the SEC and come back with a win.
Yeah. Well, we'll see where the line movement comes in for the rest of the week. Let's move on to the NFL openers right now. Okay, John?
Sure.
Okay.